Hi there, Erin Lee here of heavenlymessenger.com, bringing you this week's Tune In and Tune Up Thursday. And actually, this is going to be the last of the Tune In and Tune Up Thursdays because we're going to be moving to Tuesday night starting next week. I've been in the process of creating some online courses and classes, and I'm finding that the regular schedule that I've been using for the last many years hasn't allowed me enough time to properly create and to really devote the energy to that I want to. So my whole schedule is going through a bit of restructuring, and it's meant that I am focusing on that type of work on Tuesdays, which means that Thursday evenings will now be open to personal one-on-one readings, and Tuesday night is going to be the new Tune In and Tune Up Thursday. However, I'm going to need some help with a name. So I'm going to post more about that in the next coming days. Next week, we might not have a name for the show yet, and that's just okay because we're going to go with it. But I will have some more information on my Facebook page, and I hope that you'll help me come up with a new name for the Tuesday night show. It will start at 7 p.m. Pacific, which is 10 p.m. Eastern, the same as Tune In and Tune Up Thursdays have always been. The only difference is instead of seeing you on Thursday night, I'm going to see you on Tuesday night instead. One other really quick thing, we have the full moon gathering that's happening tomorrow night. It's online via Zoom, again at 7 p.m. Pacific, which is 10 p.m. Eastern. If you would like to join us for that, the registration information is in the comment section, probably up towards the top. We'd love to have you join in the fun. So my energy this evening is really low. The full moon has just kind of knocked me right on my behind. So I don't know if anybody else is feeling it as well. I found in the last week and a half or so, my energy's been really high. I've been doing lots, getting lots done, and today just so we're going to take a bit of a slower pace this evening. We're going to talk a little bit about self-care and about the things that we can do when our energy is feeling low. But for tonight, it felt really important to create the time to have the energy to connect with you. And I'm so incredibly grateful that you've taken time out of your day to connect with me too. So really quickly, in a moment, I'm going to put the ticker on so that to invite people to ask questions. If you are asking a question, please be specific with the question that you're asking. If you want me to use a particular card deck for your reading, please mention it as well. So the yellow deck is the Archangel Oracle card deck. We have the green deck, which is the messages from your angels, and the blue deck is the Mermaid and Dolphin Oracle card deck. So self-care has been hitting me over the head, certainly a lot today, but also just kind of in general. And, when we think about self-care, often we think about things like going for a massage or taking a bath or maybe binge watching our favorite show. And all of those things are absolutely amazing and important. But there are other things that we can do to make sure that we're giving ourselves the self-care that we need. And this can come up in the form of healthy boundaries. So healthy boundaries can be saying no when you don't have the time or you don't have the energy or you don't have the desire. It can be getting things off of your to-do list so you don't have that underlying stress. So procrastination can actually be something that kind of puts us into a place where we're needing self-care, but it's the thing that we're actually needing to do to resolve. So taking a look at your to-do list and asking yourself, is there something that I can take off of this? It's not necessarily glamorous, but things like meal prepping and making time for walk and for exercise and for meditation, all of these things are different forms of self-care. And basically what we're doing is we're giving to ourselves so that we can live the brilliant, vibrant, energetic beings that we are. So it isn't always about pampering ourselves, though obviously that's definitely a great form of self-care. Sometimes it's those other things that help us to have the energy, the time, and the space to do the things that we love. Awesome. Let me see. So we're now open to receiving questions. I'm just going to pop on and see if we have any people who have joined us this evening. Let me see. So we've got Catherine on. Hi, Catherine. It's wonderful to see you. Kathy, hello. Kai, Tanya, Brenda. other Tanya. Oh no, my goodness, we've got so many Tanyas on this evening. Maybe this is less tune in and tune up Thursday. Maybe this is tune in and tune up Tanya. Um, we've got Cameron and Elizabeth, Julie, hello, Margaret. It's wonderful to see all of you guys. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. And Tanya, Tanya said here, you look, you look so great. I so appreciate that. I I was not feeling great about half an hour ago in terms of like the look. Um and we've got Julie and the hugger. Yes, Julie and I have been sending hugs back and forth through Facebook today. All right, Elizabeth, if you want to ask a specific question, we don't do card pulls here. So if you want to ask about a specific area in your life, I would so love to connect with that. And I think part of the reason that I get people asking for card pulls is that's a lot of what people do when they do their shows. I'm not a card reader. I'm a psychic actually. So messages and information pop in for me. For me, cards are really kind of the last thing that I pull, and it's a bit of a confirmation, or usually it's a confirmation, or perhaps adding a bit of information to the messages that have come up. So we don't pull cards here, but if you want to ask a specific question, I would so love to connect with you and see what's coming up. All right, so we've got Julie here. Hi, Julie. Julie's saying that she's recently reconnected with her brother in Australia. Will this be a good thing and go anywhere or not? Okay, well, let's take a look and see what we've got coming up for you, Julie, in terms of relationship with your brother. So basically what I'm seeing is kind of dipping your toe in and testing the water. And it sounds like that's likely what you're doing as well, is just kind of trying to get a feeling for what the temperature is like, what the reception is like, how things are going to go moving forward. I'm certainly seeing an openness on your part, and I'm seeing an openness on his part as well. Part of what I'm hearing is that the underlying circumstances haven't shifted too much. So whatever has contributed to the two of you taking some time away from being connected with each other, it doesn't feel like that has shifted and changed too much, but it does feel like there's an opening, and I am feeling the need to just see what happens, but not to overly invest yourself. So if you put out a little bit and then he puts out a little bit back, then it's safe to put out a little bit more and a little bit back and a little bit more. So rather than you just being completely wide open and here I am and this is what's happening, it feels like instead what you're doing is saying, okay, well, I'll try a little bit. And if you mirror back a little bit to me too, then it feels like that's a safe place to be starting from, to be working from. I am seeing some communication challenges coming up between the two of you. This is feeling technological, but also I'm seeing some misunderstanding as well. So I don't know if that's been part of the foundation of challenge that you've had in the relationship in the past, but it kind of reminds me a little bit of the communication challenges and difficulties that we sometimes see during Mercury retrograde. So at that time, things tend to be either challenges with communication, so like email systems going down, phone systems not working, internet system kind of glitches, emails being lost in the ethers, not being received. So those types of things will often happen. And then as well, during that time, we'll often have misunderstandings. So give the benefit of the doubt and ask for clarification, just to make sure that you're receiving what is actually intended. We're just going to go to the mermaids and dolphins and just ask, what does Julie need to know about connecting with her brother? And we had two falling out. So the first card that we have here is the Have Faith card. Your prayers are manifesting, remain positive, and follow your guidance. So really pay attention to your intuition and your heart in this. The Have Faith really says to me that, it's better to go in with a positive mindset as opposed to, well, it's always kind of gone down the tube in the previous times. So be as positive as you can going into it, while still being cautious too. Like really make sure that you're still protecting yourself to the extent that you feel you need to. The next card we have is the Blessed Change card, and I love this card. It says a major life change brings great blessings. And when this card comes up, it usually means that things have been turned completely upside down. If you think about when you organize a space, everything gets really kind of messed up and messy before it gets clean again, but it has to go through that process in order for it to be straightened up. So it does feel like there could be a couple of ups and downs that you go through and experience with this, but it does feel like it's worthwhile having a bit of faith, but again, not jumping in with both feet just yet. Julie, it was such a pleasure connecting with you this evening. Thank you so much for popping on. I'm sending big and bigger hugs your way and lots of love too. All right, so we've got Catherine here. Hi, Catherine. Thanks for joining us. Catherine's wanting to know, what do you see me doing for income or for my own business? Okay, so first of all, there's something that you're needing to resolve and get out of the way first. So I don't know if you have a business that you started or you tried in the past, but it feels like I've got some remnants of something that's left over. This could be something that's physical. It could be something that's needing to be tied up on like a financial level, but there's some sort of conclusion that needs to happen to that first. And I'm also kind of wanting to go through a bit of the healing process too. I'm kind of reminded of the fact that I still haven't completely closed my first business. I started making soap, bath, and beauty products more than 20 years ago. And it's basically a business that I haven't done much with in about 10 years, but there's been a little bit here and there. And so it needs to be fully and completely resolved. And that's kind of what I'm seeing coming up for you as well, is that there's something that is sitting in the background that's needing to be fully and completely resolved in order to be able to start moving on and moving forward. When I'm asking about work and business, this feels like this is something that's coming up kind of more on the side, but I'm seeing weaving and creating something. I don't know if this is something that is metaphoric, but it feels like there's something that you're weaving, that you're creating. It feels like it's something that's tangible, but I can't let go of the feeling that this feels like it's metaphoric, that there is something that you're building, that you're creating, that you're bringing pieces together. You're moving from one point to the next point. And I'm kind of wanting to say that there's some sort of facilitation that you're doing in that. So I could certainly see this being metaphor for some sort of healing work. But I'm kind of wanting to steer clear of that for some reason. It feels like you are bringing some sort of information, you're bringing some sort of help, and you're creating something that is helpful to other people. It feels like there is the opportunity to work with people in a one-on-one type of way, but I'm also seeing a bigger group as well. So I wish I had something that was a little more clear cut for you in terms of path and direction. I suspect that part of the reason that there isn't a complete clarity there is that there is this other work that's needing to be done first. But it does feel like it is something that is worth pursuing. It's worth investing, and you need to just wrap up this other thing first. As I said, it could be that it's something that you need to physically get rid of. It could be something that you're needing to close on an energetic level. But it feels like a big part of it has to do with healing. And sometimes the healing that we have around things like that can have to do with like our value and our worth, but also that there can be a bit of a grieving process too, that there was something that we put a lot of energy into, that we dreamt about, that we, worked towards for a long time. And then the grief around that not being realized. So, there's some healing work to be done first, but I do definitely see that there is potential for you in something that you're doing that is your own, that you're really building and creating. So the card that I pulled for you, we've got the Mermaid and Dolphin deck here because it's all about manifestation and it is very material kind of based. And the message is tranquility. So a lot of the cards in this deck are very action-based cards, and this card is basically talking about like slowing down, taking a rest, and not pushing. So specifically, it says, make time to relax, be still, and enjoy your solitude, indulging in much-needed self-care. And that's really interesting because self-care does feel like it's a theme for the evening. If you've been here from the beginning of tonight's session, you know for sure that I'm feeling that too. And I'm reminded of an experience that I had several weeks ago when our power was out here. And usually where I am, it's out only for about an hour, maybe 2 hours. But this particular day, it was out for about 6 or 7 hours. And I took the opportunity to sit with some candlelight, and I was going to journal. And I thought I was going to journal about one thing, and something else completely different came out that was very creative and inspired. And it feels like that's part of the tranquility that's coming up for you with that, is to allow yourself to be open to creativity. Catherine, it was such a pleasure connecting with you this evening. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support your way. And I have to pause and take a moment here, you guys. My intention when we started today was to take a moment and to send lots of love, hope, and prayers to the rest of the province that I live in. So we're just going to put the show on pause for a moment. I live in British Columbia. It's on the west coast of Canada. Over the weekend, many parts of my province received astronomical amounts of rain. I mean, if you know anything about the west coast of North America, really, we're a pretty wet place. November tends to be a very rainy month anyway. And there are parts of my province that received more than the amount of rain in 2 days that they would usually receive over the course of November. So as a result, we have had huge amounts of flooding. Infrastructure has fallen out. We've got huge sinkholes in highways. Huge chunks of highways have disappeared. Mudslides, landslides. We had an incident in the I believe it was in the Hope area of our province, ironically, where more than 300 people were rescued by our helicopter search and rescue crew because they were caught between two mudslides. So I'd just like to take a moment to send lots of love, peace, and hope to everybody who has been displaced, who is dealing with the challenges of lots of extra water and flooding and uncertainty. May you all stay safe and have the help and the resources that you need. We're thinking about you, and we're praying for you and the rest of the province and the rest of the country too. All right. So again, my mind is obviously pretty scattered this evening, to not have led with that, because that was my intention. All right, so we have Kathy here. Hi, Kathy. Thanks for joining me. Kathy's asking, do you see any new clients coming to my daughter before Christmas? She's asking about the green deck. Okay, let's just tap into your daughter and see what we've got going on. So I'm feeling the need to kind of spice things up, to shake things up. So it feels like there are going to be new customers and clients who are coming into her, but I'm seeing them coming in through new avenues, through new venues that she is using, and there's something new that she's doing to help bring people in. It feels like there's something that she's doing that has proven to be successful over the last little while. I'm seeing her continuing to do that, and then it feels like we've got a bit of flair that's happening on top of that. And so I do see that there are new customers and clients who are coming in. Specifically, the number that I see coming up is 3. There might be more than that, but I'm seeing 3 who are feeling really stable, really qualified is the word that I want to use, and that they're people where she's going to see some really good business from them. And it feels like there's something that's going to be successful for her before Christmas, before that Christmas break. So it does feel like there are things that are happening, but she's needing to shake things up first. All right, we're going to go to the green deck, and we're just going to ask what messages are coming up for Kathy's daughter around customers before Christmas. So the card that we have here is the Celeste card. A happy move to a new home or place of employment. It is in the works. This movement will usher in positive energy. And it's really interesting because if you take a look at this card, first of all, we've got lots of buildings in the background. We have this beautiful angel or woman who's moving towards them. And she's really kind of standing out there. She's flowing. She's feeling very powerful. Her arms are uplifted, like she's open to receiving, and she's moving forward. It feels to me like she's moving forward in a way that is very bold, very comfortable. So it feels like that's a big part of the energy that's coming up for her. I happen to know Kathy and her daughter, and I know that she is in real estate. So given that I know that, the fact that we're talking about new home here, I'm going to and work opportunity, that feels to me like that's really beautiful confirmation of what's going to be coming for her. So things are shifting, they're changing, and it does feel like there's a lot of movement and things uplifted that's happening. So, Kathy, I'm so grateful that you joined me this evening. Thank you so much for popping on. Sending big hugs, lots of love and support to you and to your daughter too. All right. Okay, so Elizabeth saying she asked a question about health last time. So on just saying hello tonight. Oh, Elizabeth, thank you so much. I'm so glad that you joined us this evening. I'm sending big, huge hugs, love, and support your way, and grateful that you popped on tonight. All right, Kai, we've got Kai here. So would love to know the energy surrounding her for the rest of the year, any financial or career changes. Okay, let's take a look. So when I ask about financial and career changes, what I'm seeing is the steps going up, and I'm seeing you kind of making progress up those stairs. What I find interesting is that you're only kind of a couple of stairs up. There are still lots of stairs to climb, but I'm seeing that as being still a really positive thing, because it feels like there are successes that you're realizing along the way. So there's enough to continue to encourage you, to motivate you to keep moving forward and to keep going. So when I ask about the energy for the rest of this year, make sure that you're taking time to balance yourself, to slow down a little bit, because it does feel like you've been working really hard to kind of get up those stairs, to keep moving, to realize the things that you're working towards. But take your time. Don't feel that you're in a rush, and really celebrate each of the steps as you get there. You know, it's interesting. This message has come up for a lot of people over the last couple of weeks, and it's had to do with celebrating the successes that you've had. So often when we have a really long staircase that we're trying to get to the top of, a really long journey that we're going on, we can be so focused on getting to the goal that we forget to celebrate the steps that we've made along the way. And part of the challenge with that is in not recognizing and not celebrating the things that we've already done. It can make this journey feel really long, and it can actually deplete the energy that we have. Because when we celebrate, not only is there like an increase in energy and joy that we are experiencing, but often there's a little bit of rest too. And we need a little bit of rest sometimes. Endurance runners don't run hard and fast all the way to the finish line. They really pace themselves. And that is what I have coming up for you this evening, is that it's important to celebrate. It's important to take time. You are working your way up the staircase, up the ladders. That's really awesome and amazing, and you're doing a really great job. So financially, and I think it was career, that you were asking about, it feels like there's something that you're working towards. I don't know if there are any big changes necessarily that are happening, but it does feel like what you're working towards, you're starting to see more and more success, and you're seeing a reason to keep going and to continue with the changes that you're going through. We're going to go to the big guys for you, Kai, and we're just going to ask, what messages does Kai need to know? Oh, we had these two pop out. What does Kai need to know about the rest of the year for energy and finances and career? And the cards that we had are the Archangel Gabriel card with nurture. As you nurture a child, you nurture your own inner child, and both activities are important for you right now. So in addition to that, I see that as being, not only a rest card, but also a play card too. Make sure that you're taking time to play. If there are children in your life, make sure that you're taking time to connect with them too, in a way that's meaningful meaningful and fun for both of you, or for all of you. And particularly given the next card that we have here, this is Archangel Metatron with the Indigo and Crystal Children card. You have a bond with children. In particular, you can help children who are sensitive. So if any of the work that you're looking at doing revolves around children, or is in some way benefiting children or helping children, this is definitely confirmation of that. But really, I see this as encouragement to make sure that you're slowing down and taking time to really play, to have fun, and to honor yourself with rest as well. Kai, it was such a pleasure connecting with you this evening. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support your way. Let me see. Good. And Julie's saying, good advice, spot on, very carefully dipping the toe. Perfect. All right, we've got Amanda here. Hi, Amanda. Thanks for joining me. Amanda's wondering if we have any messages for you or things you see coming up for me. That's a kind of a tricky one, Amanda. We ask for really specific questions. If there's a particular area in your life that you want to make to tap into, I would so love to ask. And I think I'm going to just take this moment to explain why I ask for a specific question. Basically, when I tap into a person and you're just asking, what do I need to know? Like, I'm open up to this great big huge abyss of like, what's there? But if you give me something specific, then I'm able to kind of tap in and hone in on something directly and specifically. I can get some messages for you, and I can talk to as many people or more people in the evening than if I'm doing lots of general questions, because it's kind of like, what do I connect with? What do I tap into? This gives me something that I can connect with and tap into. So if you want to ask a specific question, I would so love to ask for you. Teresa's saying hi and hello to everyone. Teresa, I'm so glad that you popped on this evening. Thanks for joining us. Okay, so we've got Kala here. Hi, Kala. I hope I'm pronouncing your name properly. It might be Kayla. Do you think my mother has decided to finally leave us alone? Okay, let's take a look and see. What I'm seeing when I ask is that you're definitely in a place of a break. I'm really hesitant to say that, that the boundary has been drawn and that it's not going to be crossed anymore. But basically what I'm seeing is that there's a break, that at the least there's a break or a reprieve that you're experiencing in that relationship. It feels like there might be something that's popping up as we start to move into the new year. So like the holiday season, that feels like that's fine. I'm seeing the break extending at least that long. But as we start to move into January, February, and March, it feels like there might be something that's popping up around her that might trigger her to reach out to you. So I'm asking about what you can do to help prevent that if you're not wanting to have contact and connection with her. And part of what I'm seeing is actually something called cord cutting and cord releasing. So basically what happens is we form energetic cords and bonds to the people, places, and things in our lives. Particularly with a parent-child relationship, there are definitely a lot of cords that attach, whether the relationship is healthy or not. Cords form in all relationships, not just where things are unhealthy. So even in the most loving, healthy, and supportive relationship, we do have those energetic bonds and cords that are not helpful. They're not supportive. And it's the negative aspects of those relationships. So there are a lot of different ways that you can do cord cutting and releasing. And what I would encourage you to do is to make that part of your fairly regular routine, is to go through and do cord cutting and releasing to any relationships, but particularly to this relationship, to make sure that there isn't anything that's kind of bringing up a reminder or kind of creating an opening. One of the ways that I really like doing that, I like to work with angels. So I call on Archangel Michael, ask him for help and support in releasing any of the cords that may have attached between me and another person. So So in this instance, you would ask for help in releasing any cords that have attached between you and your mother. If you have other people in your family, children in particular, you can ask that cords be released between them and her as well. I like to call on Archangel Raphael as well for help and support. So basically what you do is when you cut an etheric cord, you create a little bit of a vacuum. And cords form because of hurt or because of challenge or manipulation, possibly. There are lots of different reasons that cords form, but basically the underlying cause of it is that there's something that is needing healing and support. So that's why we call in Archangel Raphael to help us heal those areas for ourselves. And also I ask that he heals on the other side too, because when there's healing that's present, it is less likely that cord will reform and reattach. There's no point in sending any negativity to somebody. It's much better to send peace and love and healing, but still have a really healthy boundary. Just because you're sending love to somebody doesn't mean that you have to love them and embrace them in your life. It just means that I value peace more than creating more drama. So as I said, it feels like, at least the next 6 to 8 weeks, things are feeling really good and clear. Something feels like potentially it may come up January, February, March time. So I am seeing in the meantime that there's a lot of releasing that you're doing, that you're sending love to higher self, if that feels okay, more to kind of keep things away as opposed to invite things in. We're going to go to the big guys for you too. Kayla, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing your name properly, and just see what messages are coming up for you around that relationship. So what does Kayla need to know? Okay. Awesome. So we've got Archangel Raphael popping in, and we have the Angel Therapy card. And this, to me, particularly in this instance, this is one of the best cards to get. Give your cares and worries to us angels and allow us to take your burdens. So, part of what I feel when I ask on your behalf what you need to know about this situation is I feel a lot of stress. It doesn't feel like this is a situation that has been easy for you. And even the idea that there's the possibility that she might come back into your life feels very stressful. So when that stress comes up, call on your angels and ask them for help and support. And basically, I'd encourage you to have conversation with them and say, hey, like, this is the situation. This is where I am. I'm tired. I want an end to this. I don't want to be interacting and engaging with this person anymore. I want to live my life. I want her to live her life, but I want her to live it over there where it doesn't have anything to do with me. And just let that go. Let that go. Give that over to them. One of the best ways that I have to describe it is talk to your angels as if your angels are your best friend. So you can tell them absolutely anything and everything. You can go through all of it, and they will never think that you're crazy or unbalanced or unwell. They will always just take you for where you are, and talk with them as if they have the ability to fully and completely change the experience that you're in, because they do. And typically when you talk and connect with your angels in this way, there's a lot of releasing that happens. Burden, stress, it just kind of lifts off. It just disappears. So have those conversations with them. If you feel it, you can cry, you can scream, you can get angry, you can get mad, get it out, give it to them, and then let it go. Kayla, I'm so incredibly grateful that you joined us this evening. Thank you so much for popping on. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support your way, and asking Archangels Michael and Raphael to come through and help you with whatever you need to reinforce the boundaries that you have in that relationship. All right, we've got Tanya here. Hi, Tanya. Thanks for joining me. Tanya's saying that she's seeing a specialist tomorrow, hoping for a positive outcome. And any deck, please. Okay, so let's take a look and see what we have. So things are feeling really good overall. Like for the big stuff, I'm seeing check, 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 check. So that is feeling good. But there's something that's feeling like it's more of like a little niggle that still feels like it's needing to be addressed in some way, but it doesn't feel like it's a big thing. It feels like it's a little tweaky thing. Kind of like if you took your car to the mechanic, to the shop, and they were like, yeah, we went over all of the systems, everything was good, check, 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 and your tail light is out. The tail light in the grand scheme of things is not a really big deal. And it's probably something that you can do and fix and repair yourself. But like the big stuff that you're going to need a mechanic for, that's been taken care of, that's been addressed. So it does feel like there is something that's a little bit tweaky, but it does feel like it's something also that you're able to address and take care of and deal with. So your specialist appointment is feeling like it's positive. And I am seeing you having support for whatever it is, whatever that tweaky little thing is. No, we're going to go to the big guys again. We're just going to ask, we're going to the Archangel Oracle card deck, and we're just going to ask, what does Tanya need to know about her specialist appointment tomorrow? Woo. We almost selected all of the cards for you this evening. Oh, no, we've got two here. Okay, so the first card that we have here, this is Archangel Raphael. It's the Clairsentience card. Specifically, the message is, notice your recurring physical and emotional feelings as they just signify divine guidance. That's really interesting. So clairsentience is one of the 4 primary ways that we receive intuitive messages and information. Clairsentience literally means clear feeling, and it manifests in physical sensation in the body. So when people talk about like gut instinct, or when they get goosebumps because something really resonates for them, or if you feel somebody else's pain in your body, then those are one form of clairsentience. The other form is emotion. So feeling emotion really strongly, picking up on other people's emotion. The idea of walking into a room and you can cut the tension with a knife is also really significant. What I find interesting is clairsentience will often use pathways that you're familiar with receiving pain or receiving information. So for example, for myself, I've had a lot of injury to my neck and back from car accidents when I was younger. And so one of the ways that my intuition works to get my attention is it goes to a place where I pay a lot of attention, because trust you me, if my back starts going out, I'm taking care of it right away because I know how bad it can get. So it will, my intuition, my angels, they use that. And they're like, oh yeah, Erin, she pays attention to her back and her neck. So if something's off, if something's wrong, if we need to get her attention, we need her to slow down, we're going to use that pathway because she pays attention to that. I suspect that part of the reason that this message is coming up is that they're kind of confirming for you that possibly there is a pathway, a clairsentient pathway that has developed for you in whatever this is that you're dealing with. So pay attention to that, and recognize that that is less about, oh man, we're going into a more difficult time and place, and more about, there's something I need to pay attention to here. The last card that we have for you is the Beloved One card. This is Archangel Shamuelle. I am helping you with your spiritual soulmate relationship. So it feels like either this can be one of two things. One, if you do have a partner that's at a soulmate, soul-based level, that they're saying that your partner is really helping you and supporting you in this. And if that's not the case, then this card comes up and says that it's really helping you to connect with your higher self, that other part of yourself that we work to connect with in that spiritual way. And both of those can be true, but I kind of wonder if perhaps these two are really coming up strongly for you. So if you're wanting to develop more of your intuitive abilities, take a look at clairsentience and know that this is a time that you can really work on that too. Tanya, it was such a pleasure connecting with you this evening. Thank you so much for popping on. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support your way. Awesome. So the next person we have here is Brenda. Hi, Brenda. Thanks for joining us. Brenda says, I have health and back issues going on, and I want to know if you see what the outcome is going to be. Okay. Let's ask about health and back. So your back is what's popping up for me first. And everything is feeling pretty painful, and I'm getting really tired with it too. One of the things that will often happen when people are experiencing a lot of pain in their physical body is it's mentally, emotionally, and physically draining, coping and dealing with that. And so I'm really wanting to encourage you to be aware of the energy level that you have, and particularly given that there are other health issues that are going on. So rather than, judging your progress based on where you were when you were healthy, really focus on where your energy is right now and celebrate the things that you're able to do. And when you're not able to do things, know that that's absolutely okay too. It's all part of the healing process. I'm really feeling the need to encourage you to give yourself a bit of space and a bit of leeway given where you are and what you're experiencing happening at the moment. When it comes to back, that is the one that's drawing me the most. And it feels to me like back is kind of complicated. Like it feels like it's not just one thing. It feels like I have this thing going on and that it's being compounded and it's creating this other challenge and this other challenge. And so it feels like we've got kind of a couple of things that are going on. I am seeing things being adjusted and straightened out, but it feels like you're going to need some pretty big help with that. So definitely if you've got like chiropractor or physio or massage or possibly some form of surgical, definitely make sure that you're listening to and working with those healthcare professionals, because it feels like that's going to make a really big difference for you in terms of being able to be in your body and quality of life. When I ask about health, and what's going on, I don't have any one thing that's sticking out, but again, it kind of feels like we've got a couple of things that are going on. Um, Timing does feel like it's significant, so it doesn't feel like anything's going to resolve right away. It feels like this is kind of a bit of a process and a procedure. And again, I'm wanting to encourage you to really give yourself some grace and to give yourself permission to be exactly where you are. I am seeing you working towards doing your best, and it feels like that's really where your focus needs to be. I'm doing the best that I can with the resources I have. Sometimes that means that I'm able to put in 80%, and sometimes that means I'm only able to put in 20% of my usual, but right now that's my full on. We're going to go to the messages from your angels, and we're just going to ask what messages are coming up for Brenda with health and back right now. Okay, so amazing. So the card that we have here is the Archangel Raphael card. And I say that this is amazing because this particular card deck, it has 44 cards. It is the more of like a guardian angel card deck as opposed to an archangel card deck. And out of the 44 cards, only 4 of them are archangel cards. And when it comes to healing, particularly on a physical level, it's Archangel Raphael that you want in your corner. And so his message here is, I am helping you heal physical challenges in yourself and others. You are a healer like me. So one, know that Archangel Raphael is helping you and supporting you. Also, he is helping you to find the medical professionals and practitioners who are best able to help you and to support you, both of which are really awesome things. But the other message that he has here, the last part, is you are a healer like me. You know, one thing that tends to be a bit of a challenge in our Western medicine system is we are disempowered in the healing process and the healing journey. And so find the ways in which you can be empowered in the situation and not give all of the power over to people outside of yourself. So ask yourself, what can I do for myself today that helps me to feel better? And it can be really simple things like, today I have the energy, so I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to do something that's really positive for me. Or today, I know that my body does really well when I eat foods that are non-inflammatory. And so today, that's how I'm going to honor myself and honor my body. And that's how I'm going to work towards healing myself. So finding the ways in which you are able to take on your own healing work and be supported in that. And as much as possible, look for practitioners who do support that, who do encourage you to be proactive in your health and well-being, and friends and family who really encourage that too. Brenda, it was a pleasure connecting with you this evening. Thank you so much for popping on. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love, and healing your way. And Kareen's saying hi. Hi, Kareen. It's always good to see you. Thanks for popping on tonight. And Tanya's saying thank you and yes. All right, let's see. So we've got Kareen here. Kareen's asking, how is her granddaughter managing? Okay, so when I ask about your granddaughter, first of all, she's showing me like 1, 2, 3, boom, boom, boom. There are things that she's taking care of. There are things that she's getting done. She's moving them off. She's moving them out of the way. Things are being addressed. She's getting things done. That's the big message that's coming up for me. When I ask how she's feeling about it, right now she has a lot of energy that's coming up, like she's feeling like she's able to do these things, but I'm really wanting to encourage her to manage her energy, because I'm not seeing her having kicked into overdrive just yet, but it feels like it's really easy for her to do that. So really wanting to encourage her to learn like balancing and maintaining a level that isn't like go, go, go. Now it's really interesting because she was coming through as being more mature, and just now she came through as actually being really quite young. So I don't know exactly how old she is or if that's relevant to the message that's coming up for her. But I'm also really wanting to encourage sleep, rest, and lots of play too. So lots of de-stressing. But when I ask how she's coping and managing, she's getting things done. Let's see. We're going to go to the mermaids and dolphins because play is feeling really important for your granddaughter right now. So what messages do we have for Kareen for her granddaughter? And the card that we have is rest. And I love this because this looks like a little baby mermaid to me. You've been working hard, take a nap and get some rest. So again, it feels like that's really kind of confirming the message that we had coming up for her, that yes, she's getting a lot done. She's doing a lot, but she also needs to make sure that she's taking care of herself. She's balancing and she's getting some rest. Kareen, it's always a pleasure connecting with you. Thank you so much for popping on this evening. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support to you and to your granddaughter too. Okay. And we've got Tanya saying it's been crazy. Absolutely. You must be in BC, Tanya. Actually, I think you might be in the Comox Valley. It has been crazy. And lots of love and peace to the area. Catherine says, thank you so much. You're so welcome. I'm so glad that you're popped on this evening. Hello from Emily. Hi, it's wonderful to see you. And Emily's saying, my world has been shifted so much, hoping my future is brighter than it feels in the moment. I want to tap in and take a look at that and see what we've got coming up for you Emily. Yeah, so things are getting better. I do see that there is another hurdle that you're going over. So over I want to call this the next week and a half. It doesn't feel like it's very long before this one's coming up. So over the next week and a half, take it easy with yourself. Do things that bring you joy, that build up your energy. Focus on the people that you love, that you're connecting with, that you're surrounded with. You're about to kind of go over a hump, but I do see it. One, it's not as bad as it has been. And two, on the other side of this hump, it feels like things get a lot easier, a lot sooner. And I feel like I'm able to fully breathe. It feels like there's a resolution that's happening. And it's like, okay, we've gotten over this. Now we can see the path, the direction, and everything is moving. It's moving smoothly. I'm seeing that there's a plan that's in place, and it feels like there are helpers that are popping up. So I am seeing, Emily, huge amounts of love and support that are coming up. I hate giving messages like this hurdle one, because part of what I hear from people is it starts freaking them out that there's something bad that's coming, and that's never my intention. And so I really want to confirm and reassure you that one, this is much less than what you have been experiencing. It's more of a blip in the grand scheme of things. You have the resources that you need to cope with it and deal with it. And on the other side of it, things are getting so much better. So in the same way that we have that blessed change card where everything kind of gets messy and chaotic before it comes back together, that's kind of what this blip is. And kind of what I'm hearing from what you're saying is that, world has shifted a lot. So I suspect that there's already a bit of messiness. So this is just adding just a little bit of extra messiness. And it's like, that's the thing that we needed to get messy in order to start pulling everything together. If we go back to the room organization piece, it's kind of like I had this piece here. I wanted it to stay like this, but there's no way that I can put everything back together with this as it is. I'm going to pull this out, and now I can finally start putting things back into place. Where are we going to go? We're going to go to the messages, to the Archangel Oracle card deck, because I'm feeling a need to bring in some big guys for you, Emily. Whoops, and there's our card. So the message that we have here is actually Archangel Uriel. His message is brilliant idea. Yes, your idea is divinely guided. Please take action to bring your idea to fruition. So part of this kind of next week and a half time frame that I'm seeing for you, it feels like it's important to give yourself some time and some space to be connected connecting with God, source, universe, angels, spirit guides, whatever your belief system is. But basically give yourself some time and some space to be open to receiving. So we talked a little bit earlier about talking to your angels and giving everything over to your angels. So talking it through what's been happening. Things are feeling really like out of balance and out of sorts. There's lots of shifting that's happening. What do I need to know? What do I need to do moving forward? I don't want to hold on to all of this on my own right now, and ask them for help and support. Archangel Uriel helps to give us thoughts and ideas, to see solutions, to see things in a different way that helps us to move through and to navigate. So he's definitely wanting you to know that he's around, helping and supporting you. So feel free to call on Archangel Uriel and ask him for help and support. Also, Archangel Uriel helps and supports us on an emotional level as well. So in the same way that Archangel Raphael helps us with healing on a physical level, Archangel Uriel helps us with healing on a mental and emotional level too. So if there's any sort of remnant emotional or mental stuff that's going on with all of the shifting that you've been going through and experiencing, Uriel is your angel for sure. So call on him and ask him for help and support in organizing and releasing anything that no longer serves so that you can move forward. Emily, it was a pleasure connecting with you this evening. Thank you so much for popping on tonight. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support your way. All right, we've got a thank you from Kathy. Kathy, it's always a pleasure connecting with you. I'm so glad that you popped on tonight. So, Cassandra's here. She's saying excited to join me tomorrow evening. I'm so glad she's received the reminder email and hope we're safe, dry, and warm in the weather. Thank you, Cassandra. If you're also in BC, I hope you're safe, dry, and warm too. And Cassandra is referring to the full moon online gathering that we're having tomorrow night. At the top of the comment section, you'll find the registration link if you would like to join us. I guarantee we're going to have a lot of fun tomorrow night. All right. And we've got Corey here. Hi, Corey. Thanks so much for joining us. Hello back to you too. It's a pleasure to connect to you. Okay. And we've got, and actually I should say too, Corey is a fellow energy healing practitioner and intuitive, and I will be joining Corey on her More Than Existing Summit that's happening January 7th to 9th. I will be sure to post more information about that on Facebook. I'll have a talk that I'm offering about trusting your intuition and the joys of connecting with Archangel Haniel. It's also going to be a lot of fun. Let me see. Brenda, I didn't skip your question. We did connect for your question. So if you want to just kind of watch back to what we talked about, we did connect and talk. Oh, good. And Kayla is saying that her name is pronounced Kayla. I'm so glad that you corrected me. Thank you. Okay, let me see. Oh, Brenda, I'm so glad. I'm glad that you mentioned that. I didn't see your question about your daughter. My apologies. And we do one question for each person on the show. So we will be back on Tuesday. I hope that you'll join me again and you'll ask then too. Awesome. We've got Carrie on tonight, and Carrie saying that she just popped in. Thank you so much for joining me. It's a pleasure to have you here. And Corey, yay, I'm so excited to be joining you guys too. Thank you for inviting me to participate as a presenter in the summit. Let me see. Emily saying, wow, thank you. You had such a big question and made it more specific. Well, I hope that we were able to get the information that you needed with that. Oh, yes. And she said it, and she said that we answered it anyway, and looking very lovely. Oh, that's so lovely. Thank you so much, Emily. Awesome. I don't believe it. I'm just going to go back through the comments. It looks like we may have connected with everybody for the evening. I'm just going to double check. We don't usually get down to the end of the questions, and certainly not this early in the evening. So if you've been sitting watching the show tonight and you're like, oh man, I hope that Erin can pop in and answer a question for me, I hope that you will take a moment to ask. As I mentioned to Brenda, we do one question per person per evening. So if you haven't asked a question yet this evening, I hope that you will. So let me just see if there was anybody that I unintentionally missed, and I'm not seeing anybody so far. Do, do. Where are we? Oh, Corey, thank you. You're so awesome too. Okay, so Cassandra's asking, what should I know for tomorrow's event? That's a really great question. So tomorrow night we're connecting for the full moon gathering. It's going to be an online event. The full moon is something that has always been incredibly important to me in terms of connecting with the energy of the moon. It is an amazing time for releasing and letting go that which no longer serves you and no longer supports you. Women in particular have a very strong connection with the lunar cycle. When we lived with the energy of the earth, our bodily cycles, our monthly cycles synced up and lined up with the energy of the moon. The full moon is a time when we would be shedding, where we would be releasing. And so that's part of the reason that it is such a powerful time for releasing. A component that we are going to be exploring for this particular full moon ceremony is forgiveness as well. Forgiveness for self and forgiveness for anybody else that we may need to forgive in order to fully and completely release, to move on and to move forward. Where it's definitely going to be a come as you are event. So however you show up is exactly how you need to be. It feels like it's really important to create as stress-free an environment as possible. And so that's where the come as you are and the no expectation aspect is coming up from. It might have been a really crazy day with work. Your energy might be really low. But the most important thing is that you hop on and you join us. So in that light, keeping that in mind, things that you might want to bring with you if you can, if it's easy, are pen and pencil, because we will be doing some releasing work. And I really enjoy doing that work through writing, because writing is a really powerful way to connect with that energy. Bring something comfortable for yourself. So a blanket is always really helpful. Water is really helpful. And cards, if you have your own cards, but I will be using card deck as well. So if you don't have cards, know that that's totally okay. And anything else that you want to bring that helps to make the time feel special and sacred for you. We may have opportunity to have a bit of show and tell for people to help kind of create space. But I don't want you to feel that you are in any way obligated to bring anything other than yourself, because at the end of the day, that is the thing that is most important. And yeah, we will have a wonderful time together doing lots of releasing. When we work together, when we gather together, that amplifies the energy that everybody is bringing. So whatever you're working on and whatever I'm working on, when we release it together, it amplifies it that much more. We'll also talk about the preparation for the new moon phase. So the full moon is a time where everything is illuminated. The things that are typically in the dark or in the shadow that we don't typically see, it can't hide in the full moon. And that's part of the reason that it's so powerful to release during the full moon, because everything is coming up to the surface, right? There's awareness that's happening. And we can say, oh yeah, that's what's been underlying that thing that I have been having challenge with. So then the next part of the cycle, as we move to the other side, is the new moon. So the new moon is the time in our hormonal monthly cycles where we are the most fertile. And this is the time for planting seeds and for the beginning of manifestation. So part of the energy that we focus on in the full moon is, not only what do I need to release and let go of, but also moving forward, like I'm wanting to start creating and manifesting in this way. So given that, we're kind of working backwards through the maze. I don't know about you, but when I used to do mazes when I was a kid, I would always start from the middle of the maze, like the goal part of the maze, and I'd work my way out to what was essentially the starting point. And we'll take a look at that as well. As we'll take a look at, this is where I'm wanting to go. So what do I need to do in order to get there? What are the things that are kind of standing in my way right now? And we can work on healing and releasing that. So that's part of part of what we're going to be doing tomorrow night. Again, come as you are. That is the most important part. And bring the intention to release and to renew. Let me see. Do. Awesome. So we've got Carrie here. Hi, Carrie. Thanks for joining us. And Carrie's asking if her niece will come for Christmas. And we've got some crossed fingers that are coming up for Carrie. Uh, I'm seeing, I'm wanting to say yes, but no. And I'm kind of I'm kind of reminded of the issue that we often have with my younger brother when he comes home to visit here, um, and travel, particularly around Christmas time, can be kind of tricky because of the fog. And so he'll have the ticket, he'll be ready to come, and then for some reason the plane doesn't leave because it can't land, it can't go through fog. So that's kind of what I'm seeing coming up. So I'm hearing yes, she is coming. So I am seeing plans that are being made, but it feels like there's might be something that's kind of shifting it, that's changing it. I do still see her making it, but possibly not quite in the timing that she's expecting. So if it is at all possible for her to arrange her travel so that she arrives like a day earlier, that feels like that could be really helpful and supportive. But it does feel like the other things are in place. So like a mode of travel, safety and ability to travel. I mean, we are recognizing that we are still in COVID and restrictions. It doesn't feel like that's going to hamper her ability to travel and to be there. It really feels like it's something that is outside of her control. And I'm seeing kind of more weather. So to travel as safely as possible, if it is possible, encourage her to come a little bit earlier, or if she's driving, to give herself a little extra time, more than possibly she normally would. So for example, if it's usually like a 3-hour drive, encourage her to give herself like 5 or 6 hours. Okay, we're just going to ask about Carrie's niece, if she's going to be able to make it. Let's see, what do we say? So we've got the mermaids and dolphins, and the card that we have is the contemplation time. Spend time alone, meditating upon what you truly desire. And that's really interesting because, Carrie, this doesn't feel like this card is for you. It really feels like it has more to do with your niece. So I do see her having already made the choice and the decision that she wants to come. It doesn't feel like there's anything that's standing in her way from an emotional perspective, but I kind of wonder if the rush right up before Christmas is something that is putting her in a place where she's like, oh man, I feel like I have to slow down. And it kind of reminds me of being back in university. And because of the way the semester system works, like often it's like full on like finals and exams right up until like Christmas holidays. And then you barely have a chance to catch a breath and to relax, and you're on to Christmas holidays and stuff. So if by any chance she is going to school, or particularly going to university and college, encourage her to find some time and space before she comes to visit, to really decompress and not to be like go go go, because that does feel like that's going to have an impact on her enjoyment of time with everybody, because I do see her really wanting to be with you guys. So awesome. Well, everybody, thank you so much for joining me for this week's Tune In and Tune Up Thursday. It is always a pleasure for me to be able to connect with you in this way, and I'm grateful for the time that you've taken out of your day. As we've talked about at great length this evening, we do have the full moon gathering that's going to be online tomorrow night. Information is in the comment section here, and I'll also make sure that I post it again on my Facebook page, facebook.com/heavenly messenger. This is going to be the last Tune In and Tune Up Thursday because we're moving to a Tuesday night. So I hope that you'll be able to join me next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Pacific, which is 10 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to be asking you guys for some help in coming up with a name for this new show on this new evening. I'll have more information posted over the next couple of days. So Tuesday night might not have like a show name, but that's okay, because we're going to show up, we're going to be there, we're going to do our thing, and we'll figure it out together. I hope you have a fabulous weekend, and I look forward to connecting with you on Tuesday. Sending big hugs, lots of love and support your way.